Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about alternating series tests. So if you don't already, you want to get your help sheet out because you want to be following along as we do this. And again, we're moving into ones where we can use these tests on. They don't have to be positive series anymore. The first, the comparison tests and the integral tests, both comparison tests and integral tests require you to have a positive series, so every term is positive. The alternating series test, we just talked about in the previous video about absolute convergence. That's the way to handle series that have alternating signs. But this is another one. It's called the alternating series test, so obviously it's applied to alternating series. So, the way the alternating series test is, you can see on your sheet that your first step in alternating series is to pick a b sub n. So we assume, so we're looking at a series and we assume there's a b sub n that is a positive sequence. This is a sequence because there's no summation on top or next to it. Okay? That is decreasing and converges to zero. So you can tell there's really three things we have to show. We have to show that it's positive, we have to show that it's decreasing, and we have to show that it converges to zero. Okay? If we have that, and we can show that, then we get the series that runs from n from 1 to infinity of -1 to the n minus 1 times b sub n also converges. Or not also converges, it does converge. Okay? So you can see what we're doing. If we're going to take some alternating series. We're essentially going to eliminate the part that makes it alternating. So we're left with a positive sequence. Then we have to show that that sequence decreases, that is decreasing, and that sequence converges to zero. Notice those are not the same thing. You could be decreasing but not converging to zero. And you could converge to zero without being decreasing. So you do have to show both pieces there. Okay? So if we're given a series, like for example, we'll do the one we did in absolute convergence. So just to show another way to do it, let's say we have n equals 1 to infinity of -1 to the n minus 1 over n squared. And we want to show that that converges. So the first step is to recognize. Now last time we took the absolute value of it and proved absolute convergence. We're not going to do that this time. We're going to use the alternating series test. So we'll say by the alternating series test. Notice I use a nice cute abbreviation. By the alternating series test. So we're going to pick a b sub n. So my b sub n is equal to 1 over n squared. Okay? So notice that's just like this. In fact, if you wanted to, you could point it out by writing 1 equivalent. You could rewrite this as -1 to the n minus 1 times 1 over n squared, just to show that I have that condition up there. Right? That's what I'm trying to get. So my b sub n works for that. So now I have to show that b sub n is positive, decreasing, and converges to zero. So first of all, b sub n is positive for all n, because n squared is always greater than 0, right? So that's the first step. I showed that it was positive. Second step is to show it's decreasing. How could I show it's decreasing? Well, we could say that 1 over n plus 1 squared has to be smaller than 1 over n squared. It's a pretty easy thing to show, because n plus 1 squared is bigger than n squared. Therefore, b sub n is decreasing. Okay, so that's the second thing. Third thing you show is it approaches 0. So then we're just going to take the limit as n approaches infinity of 1 over n squared, and if anyone knows anything about limits, that clearly approaches 0. So we've just established the three things, that b sub n is positive, that b sub n is decreasing, and that b sub n approaches 0. Okay, or converges on 0. So we've met the three qualities, so then we can say, we've shown that this b sub n works, so then we can say that this guy converges. Okay? Pretty nifty. So that's the alternating series test. There's more examples of that in some of the other videos. And at this point, you really just need to keep practicing these things and get used to looking at a series and quickly drawing, figuring out what tests to use. I mean, after you've done a few of these, it becomes more and more clear how to choose them. I think I might make another video later on just how you go about choosing what test to use. But all right.